so she was cheating. Not only in her relationship, but in the game that she was trying to portray herself in, she was legitimately cheating.
Getting the boyfriend to stream snipe for your clout, yo. I kind of respect
Not
it.
him stream sniping to get better dicks than his.
If it was just for the growth, not of the dick, but of her channel, like, again, I respect that.
Boys, this is RMTS 157. Just me and Verlis, just the boys today.
And it's only half of me because I've been playing too many video games all night and I'm too lazy to put on a face cam now. Because, like, New World is doing a relaunch next month and I've been making videos and I was up all night. And then Zach said, let's record. And I said, fuck, I just woke up at 7 p.m.
Yeah, we had 2 weeks worth of hell. You've been degenerate Verlis again, and I've been going through absolute hell.
Exactly. That's all this
So
means. Like, no face cam means, like, we in ghoul hours and I'm lazy. Oh, frozen. Oh no, I got a cover, I guess, but it's probably recording locally, so I don't know what's happening.
what the
Hello, you're
fuck?
back.
Okay, I don't know why the internet just shit the bed. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's still doing it. But we all know you're just sitting there like you Hefner with a fucking robe on, one slipper on, and you're like hoping your cock doesn't slip out, even though you don't have a camera on. But
Nah.
how's
I'm
everything
just
going,
in
man?
swim trunks, because that's like how I.
Swim trunks?
Yeah. I feel like boxers, even if it's just me, is a little too not enough. So I usually
I
just
don't
have
know.
swim trunks on.
I don't remember if you were on this episode or if it was just me and Ippo. But I don't ever wear boxers. They're uncomfortable as fuck to me, so I just always have pants on.
I mean, I have like my uh yeah, like sweatpants, and I don't wear anything under that.
Exactly.
But
Like
for
it's just sweatpants, pajama pants, the
yeah, the
normal
pajama
shit.
pants, those were, the dick pants. We all got
Exactly.
some dick pants, but I don't wear those because, like, if dog wants to go outside, well, I still got to put on like real clothes if I'm going outside in my dick pants.
Yeah.
So I think having the
My
swim
name's Hot
trunks
Wheels
is
Zach
just
for
the
a reason.
swim trunks is just the compromise. That's my
Uh
casual lounging.
so as always, guys, check out G Fuel. Use code RMTS to check out the merch. Go show them some love. And honestly, it's been one hell of a week.
Hmm.
And I didn't really expect last week to go as badly and as surprisingly acceptable as it did. But on Monday I returned to streaming after everything happened last week. And one of the homies raided me and I had 170 people on my first stream back after not streaming for like 3 4 months almost entirely and like 6 months full time. So
Damn, that's very nice.
it was a weird fucking time. And then the day after, I had another 50 people because the fucking PKA Discord decided to raid me and start trolling me. So it's been a really weird week. Depression and then spikes of dopamine of holy shit, there's 200 people watching me and I'm half fucking awake. It's been a really weird fucking week. It really has. But
I like your little corner that you got set up now. Like that looks really nice for just like a face cam. If you're like, oh, I'm podcasting, I'm streaming from the corner. Got a little
yeah.
LED back there. It's good.
So, well, that's not only an LED. I'll try and move out of the way in a second. But my girlfriend. So what happened was our baby ended up passing. So I'll go into that more later at a different time.
Exactly. We
But
need the audience invested before we bum them out. We learned that a couple episodes ago.
I want to like she's like I want to give you a spot in your office where like he can be with you, and I was like, okay, that's
Oh,
awesome. So we ended up having to cremate him and everything else, but she let me kind of just go hog wild, and because his middle name was Link, I got an ocarina. I got
oh wow.
the yeah, and then obviously there's a Zelda poster above it. But
Hmm.
I I, I thought it was a good idea. I don't know. It looks nice. That's all that matters. But
Yeah.
and he's always with us, which is
Even
nice. But
outside the story, like aesthetically, it's fine down there. It's look good.
yeah, I wish the remote had batteries so that way I could flip the color over to blue. But other than that, everything's good. But yeah,
Perfect.
no, it's been a hell of a week. But there's definitely positives coming out of it. Things are
Yeah.
okay. But yeah, it's been crazy. So the world has fucking blown up since we recorded last time. Um, we have Facebook now all of a sudden turning conservative, Diddy being arrested with crazy amounts of dildos, and marriages falling to GTA RP. Where do you want to start?
I didn't even know that Facebook was uncensoring conservatives because it's like, oh yeah, that's where like all that's happening on Twitter, so I'm used to that, but not anywhere else.
So, from what I've seen, Facebook.
Yeah,
Um,
type it up.
no, I wanted to bring up the link, but I did this all yesterday while I was riding home. And I literally had it ready for last night, so that way we had the availability. Whatchamacallit? So Facebook went through and deplatformed all of the Republican people and everything else before 2020 and everything else because they didn't want Trump to win. We all knew this. This was a huge, big thing and everything else.
Well, no, only
Now,
half the country knew that.
yeah, no, some people just don't agree to it at all. Um, now, Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg has hired a whole bunch of Republican people to support the Republican people on Facebook altogether. And he's decided that he's leaving the left wing party altogether. And he is now going to be conservative and a libertarian because he doesn't want his money taken.
Yeah, I missed all of that, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't see it, and I didn't see it as a big thing literally until whatchamacallit. I was scrolling through the big news on Twitter, and I was like, "Wait, Facebook is flipping? Why is Facebook flipping? It
hmm
makes no fucking
Like
sense."
I've seen like a little bit of basedness coming out of the Zuck over the last couple of months. Like after he did his 4th of July post where he's doing his like surfboarding while with the American flag. It's like, yeah, he cares. He was a normal person at one point. It seems like he's fallen back into that. And then I saw like another thing where he made like some kind of comment or like there was some kind of action that was like, oh, that wasn't like completely far left from the Zuck. Let's go. Maybe something's developing.
Yeah, breaking news as of 22 hours ago. Breaking: Mark Zuckerberg is reportedly aligned with libertarian ideology and has hired Republican strategists to repair relationship with the right-wing media and operatives after years of censorship.
Huh.
So what is about to happen? Is everybody actually seeing that the left is a bunch of pieces of shit? Because I'm thoroughly confused. There might actually be a flip back the other way. The
Well,
flip that I've been calling for years now.
technically, there was never really a flip if we count like legal votes and who really won the election. But now the perception has gone back where it belongs.
Yeah. No, it's just it's weird. Now Mark Zuckerberg is trying to get money from Republicans. Guys, Facebook was the largest for how long? Meta is
Yeah.
now still two of the
I
largest
guess when
social
you
medias
hemorrhage
on the platform.
money, yeah, when you hemorrhage money to like terrible politics and ideology, you realize like, oh wait, there's one place where it's better.
It's just it's crazy the fact that they're going through and trying to do this now.
hmm Yeah, I
I
was in an
wonder if it's
argument.
honest or not.
Yeah, I was in an argument with my commie friend because like actually talking to a hard far leftist is just like wow they have no attachment to reality. They said like the whole Haitian situation in Springfield, Ohio, like those are legal immigrants, but they're not. Like on Springfield's own website, they have like some kind of special protection,
Mhm.
and it's like, oh, these are. I have to look it up now because I wasn't expecting to say this.
No, you're good.
Y-
No,
I
I
know that's
just
why I'm not. Fill air dead time.
that entire story, all of it is so fucking crazy. And everybody's like, herder, they're eating dogs and cats and ducks. I'm like, it doesn't matter how many times they've eaten dogs, cats, or ducks. Do you realize how fucked up that entire microeconomy is now?
Yeah,
Do you not
exactly. Like you can't
understand how
just dump
fucked up that entire
20,000.
section is?
Yeah, you can't just dump 20,000 of any
That's a
immigrant
third
or
of their
anyone.
population. That's like if we
Yeah.
dumped what 3 billion people in the entire
hmm
United States. Just here, let's see what it does. Here we go, guys. It's fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid. There's no fucking infrastructure for this shit. And that's the shit that everybody's fucking complaining about. Yet they wanted to clip and meme based off
Hmm.
of Trump
Well,
saying
also, what
that they
upsets
ate
me is like,
dogs and cats.
what about the actual citizens in this country that need it, the lower class or
Mhm.
the homeless? Like the Haitians didn't walk from the border into Springfield. Someone paid to put them there and then give them other benefits, and that's like, why are we doing this? So yeah, on the website, the question is, are immigrants legally here, and how did they qualify? So there's an immigration parole program that makes them a temporary protected status. So, and then like further down on that, it's like, oh, they're actually not citizens. So the left actually thinks that if you're a legal immigrant, you're automatically a citizen. But no, there's countless programs and weird things through the administrations where like, yeah, you cross the border, something happens, and then you're just a special class that is immigrant, not illegal, but not a citizen, and then you still get thousands in welfare benefits every month.
Yeah, whatchamacallit. I've seen a couple of them say that their food stamp card is the magical food card or the
Hmm.
magical
Magic money
unlimited
card.
cash fund. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy. But
Like
the
also like how are
crazy
they getting
part of it,
driver's licenses when they have no experience?
they're
How are they
not.
getting cars to crash?
Did you see how many cars they've crashed?
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's what I was about to go to. I was like, it's every single turn.
Hmm.
It goes back to like you remember how on Family Guy and everything else they would do all those stereotypes of oh Asians can't
Yeah.
drive or oh women can't
How
drive.
much signal I need to
It's
cross 8 lanes? None? I go now.
it's the same fucking thing now. These Haitians have no idea what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, the problem is
No
like
fucking idea.
nothing passes the eye test, but because it's not virtuous to use your eyes, like don't believe your lying eyes, like the left just cannot cope with reality and it's weird.
I don't know. I was having this talk with Woody, and I was like, it, the hardest part about it is both sides are so exaggerative that it's hard to believe either side.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying from my perspective, I'm saying from like humanity perspective. I'm saying from like normal everyday person shit. You look at the right and they're like, herder, they're taking our gerbs still. And you look at the left and they're like, one world government for all. And we're like, what the fuck is going on? What
No
the fuck is
human
going
is
on
illegal.
either side?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
I mean,
saying?
when
Like,
you look at it, it's actually like a parole program, and they're given government assistance to acquire those jobs. They're actually taking jobs from citizens that should have
yeah,
them, or at least be given a chance at them. But you say that, and now you're racist and you hate immigrants and whatever. It's like, no, I'd rather like care about the people that are already here.
exactly. Like at some point, we kind of have a sense of morality towards the people that we're, you know, brothers and sisters with, not, some random person across the country that never was here before.
Have you
Like, I
seen
don't
the
know. It's
morality
just
heat
weird.
map?
No, I would love to see a morality heat map.
Uh, it's like the new like right wing meme that's making the rounds, and it's from a study where it's like in groups versus out groups and stuff, and how much like compassion the left has, like liberals versus conservatives have.
Holy shit. Yeah.
So it's a moral allocation by ideology, and if you can pull that up on the screen, it helps.
Yep.
So the
I
thing
will.
is, liberals they have like equal care for everything, like all living beings. But then when it comes to conservatives, they're more focused on community, friends, family.
Yeah. So it seems like the center would be you, your family, the people closest to you.
Yeah,
As it reaches out, then it would be more
then
and
it's just
more,
everything.
yeah,
So
less
that's like,
vague.
so I think like that's the big distinction is it's self-interest, but like self-interest isn't a bad thing. However, the left sees it as evil, even though it's like no, self-interest is me, the people around me, my community, and you can't have any kind of prosperity without focusing on self-interest because you can't help everyone everywhere all at once. But
Well,
the
I think that
virtue,
that's a huge thing that we learn in like elementary school. Which is why I think, a lot of conservatives don't happen until after you're 35 because,
mhm,
you kind of get a little bit hard into it. But you learn that back in elementary school. Oh, herder, we got to be calm. We got to be able to take care of each other. We can't be selfish. We got to share. And it's like those things
mhm,
stick. And the fact that those things stick, it's not, oh, here's a mozzarella stick because I have six and you have five. It's herder, let me talk for you, let me explain for you, and it's Karenisms and all this
Yeah.
shit, and it's stupid.
It,
It's fucking stupid.
the more like you really get into how the left responds to things, especially in like the supercharged climate, it really just kind of shows like how fake all this virtue is. Where it's like, oh yes, virtuous is having morality towards all things, but it's like that doesn't help anyone. But you think you're
No,
better. And then that's like then they come at this moral superiority like I like more things than you, or I'm moral towards more things than you, therefore I'm better, therefore you're wrong and evil and racist and all these other things, and then it just falls apart.
it's crazy.
Because I showed that to the
It's
commie friend, and he's like I don't get it. And then he said, and then I explained, and he's like, oh yeah, now I understand. Like, well, not under. I'm trying to find what he says because it was one of those things like he just doesn't. Oh, I don't see this as a bad thing. Right wingers only giving a shit about their own and only caring about an issue when it happens to them directly is a bad look for you. So thanks for proving, like, thanks for making or
both
liberals
of
look
them are
better.
wrong.
Yeah.
Both of them are wrong. And like then you have the isolationist ideology where it will be like the first three circles. So like you care about your state or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. Like there are more circles than just those two, but at the same time, none of them are fully correct because at some point that care has to taper off. But your family should be first. And the reason why, you bunch of fucking liberals, why it's such a big fucking problem, I'll explain it. It causes the problems in single parent households. If
Oh,
they
that actually
never
brings
give
us
a
to another
fuck,
picture from
if
the
they
same
never
story.
do exactly what the fuck is going on, then all of the time they are going to sit there and pull away from their family. They're going to pull away from the things that they need to do.
What is father gonna say when he comes back?
Father?
Yeah, you said he left to buy some milk 42 years ago. He could be back any minute.
Look at the picture I just sent
Yep,
you.
I got it. I'm bringing it up.
Left
But
versus right, less care for
it,
family.
isn't that
It's
isn't that crazy?
yeah.
Love for others should not come above love for family.
Yet
Like it's not fucking complex.
those two graphs explain everything. It's kind of fascinating, and like I said, and then there's a gap because people on the left like
The
think like,
crazy
wait,
the
this is good
crazy
for
thing
us, and
here
then
is the
people on the
love
right
for
think this is good for
friends.
yeah.
How is your friends above your family? And I don't know what the hell they're using as a term for family here. So I don't want to sit there and go like super hyper focused into that. But
They
at
mean
the
like
same
blood,
time,
like actual direct relatives, because
okay,
on the left they go, oh, family is what you make it. You know, my friends that are closer to
that's
me.
why I was saying
Yeah,
as a whole, like
and that's
I
why it's
can't sit
rated
here
higher
and
on the
use it.
left.
It's rated higher on both sides.
Well, you can see the gap though. Friends
Yeah,
and family are
no,
about equal.
absolutely. That's what I'm saying though, is like this shit is part of the reason why single mother households happen.
Hmm.
This shit. Because if you look at it, most single mothers end up leaning very, very far left. They care more about everybody and everything else. And then they're dudes walking out of the house because they've never been shown any stability and anything else in their life. They're like, herder, guys, nobody gives a fuck anyway. I'm going to go get some milk today and never come back.
Well, also, I think it's more like resentment that develops inside of a family where it's like, wait, why do you only
Yeah.
care about our community and our country when there's people starving in Africa and this my friend isn't getting affirmed by their conservative parents? So it creates, this resentment, and then it's like, oh, family just gets thrown away.
Actually, you want
It
to
all
hear something
tracks.
crazy? My daughter was being a smartass, but she asked me a question the other day, and I think you'll get a kick out of it, and I want to hear your opinion.
Oh boy.
It's not anything to do with that, but
Mm-hmm.
so she looked at me. She said, "Dad, I have a question." I said, "Okay." She said, "Dad, what would you do if I became a furry?"
Never
I'm
mind.
like,
This sounds funny.
what level furry are we talking about? Because I know she's being obnoxious, but
Yeah.
I want to actually make her think. I was like, what level of furry are we talking about? Are we talking about, oh, I just heard her wear ears, or am I putting fucking, you know,
A litter
kitty litter
box
in
for
every
you.
single
Yeah.
bathroom? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's
Do
like,
I
I don't
actually
know.
have to like treat you like a cat?
How would you treat me, Dad? I said I wouldn't treat you any different. The thing is you're not any more protected because you're a fucking furry. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what more do you want from me?
Also,
I know,
my
joke, But at the
My
same
answer
time,
to
it's
these
like,
kinds of discussions is like the level of how much you entertain it, where it's like, I wouldn't
yeah,
treat you differently, but that also means I'm not accommodating by putting a litter box in the bathroom for you.
exactly. It's really weird with her. I love her to death, and I hope that
I mean, that's like the most base shit if that's like your kid shit posting you. What if I was a furry?
oh, she does. She has become so fucking far conservative because of like being back around me and me receiving full custody of her. She is just like, I don't understand any of this shit. It's all fucking stupid. She is so fucking loud about everything. But whatchamacallit, I remember when she was a kid, I tried to like I didn't think that this was my job, but it was always what I wanted for my kids. Is I wanted to make them the best versions of them that other people would accept. And I know that sounds fucked up as a parent, but like you don't want your kid being the weird kid that's ostracized by fucking everybody.
Hmm.
Parents, that's your actual job, is take care of your kid enough so that way they're not ostracized by everybody. So for like a year, she always acted like she was a cat. Like she would do kitty noises and put her hands up. And it was cute, but at the same time, really fucking annoying in some circumstances. I was like, you got to fucking stop this.
Hmm.
You're going to be looked at as a weird kid. Fucking stop. And then she comes up and like completely flips and just makes a joke about being a furry. And
Wow,
I
you
got such a fucking giggle out of it.
wow, parenting, correcting childhood behavior instead of just like just appealing to whatever nonsense your kid has cooked up that day.
No, and I do the same thing with my son too. I don't remember if I sent it in our group, our chat or not. I don't think I did. But I found a list of banned words for our classroom, and it was like all of the
Yeah,
riz and all that
boomerisms and
shit.
shit.
And I was like, dude, you all know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get a whiteboard for the fridge, and anytime he says something that doesn't make any fucking sense, we're writing it on the fridge, and it's now a banned phrase
I love
because
it.
I think that this will work out the entire problem. I think we'll get it and we'll get the point across and it'll fix everything.
You know what's interesting? Like that made me think about King of the Hill because that show was incredible at like social commentary and these
Yeah.
kinds of things because there was a lot of episodes where Bobby got into a fad and then he was getting mocked for it and Hank was the only one that saw it and was trying to discourage it, but that made Hank the bad guy. But in the end it's like, "Oh wait, no, that's the natural resolution and he made the correct move." But
Well,
then
as a
the people that are
dad,
just like, "Well, he's a caricature, so that means no matter what he did, it's wrong." It's like, nah,
well,
everyone's
this is
lost the
where it gets
plot.
weird. As a dad, you don't want to destabilize who they are as a human, but you want to restabilize them as a consistent human. So, doing a hobby, playing Pokemon, playing Yu-Gi-Oh, playing D&D or whatever level of gaming or whatever you're doing should not be your entire self-worth or your entire sense of self. Like you can be a human and be a different person than that. And I think that that's kind of what we lost. Like we and not we, I think it's probably the generation before ours because if I think about it, I'm 30. Like my kids are older because, I had kids early. So if I look at my youngest who's 4, and that's kind of like the logical age for my kids, it's the generation before us. It's my parents and most people born in the late 70s, early 80s. It seems like anytime that they got into a hobby, they made it into their personality. So now they're making everything every kid's personality, and that personality is like such a impulse, I need dopamine now kind of culture that it's kind of fucking with everything. And
Yeah.
that's what you see with their Zoomer language of I don't make any
Hmm.
fucking sense ever. Is I just want the dopamine out of the world. That's all that I need.
Yeah. Kids are overstimulated and like hypercycling through pretty much everything. Because I was actually thinking about, I'm like, what did people do in the 80s? They like watched football, went to the bar, and fucked because there was nothing else to do.
And we it's weird. Like even if you look back at like the mid 2000s, so like 2006,
Yeah.
2008, where we were starting to connect via video games and everything else. The world wasn't like how it is now.
The
And
internet, fuck it. Social media. It's all social media's fault.
I don't even think social media fucked it. And that might sound weird because like I was so
Yeah, you're wrong.
drastically addicted to playing video games online and stuff like that because it was something I didn't have. I didn't have an Xbox until Black Ops 2. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I think midway through Modern Warfare 3 actually. But I didn't have an Xbox. So like I didn't have that level of, oh, I'm just going to do this. It didn't fill my need for human connection. It created a more availability to it. But now we've disconnected by using the same exact thing that gave us the tool to connect to everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's like we've made it so liberalized that it's disconnected other than for myself. It's like I want the number to go up and that's it. That's all I care about. That's why we have 2 fucking clips channels. You know what I'm saying? We have one that I post on our full on channel and everything else, and then we have a clips channel that gets every single clip that's made at all ever from our clipper. That's it. That's how I do it because one channel gets everything, see what the fuck it does, and then our channel gets a certain amount and uploaded and tested and played with to see what the algorithm's doing.
Yeah.
It's not it's not crazy to believe that this shit isn't affected by, the early 2000s where we're like, guys, I want to play video games, but my friend can't come over today. We were playing couch co-op games literally 20 years ago. It doesn't feel like 20 years. Me sitting here talking about the early 2000s feels like 10 years ago.
Yeah, like the thing that has crushed me is I hear like, oh, Nintendo Switch, and then we buy the new Mario Party and it's online, and we can do like play all those Mario Party games again, and not a single friend has done it.
Yeah.
It's like it has to be in person, and I think that's the thing about social media. Like your friend down the street, you just hit them up on Twitter or Discord, and you don't even communicate with them in person ever.
Well, that that's not even all of it to me. And that might sound stupid,
Yeah, you're
but it's
stupid on
like
this. Like we're just like, come on, we've already been watching like the mental health decline.
I don't
It's
disagree with
social
that. I
media. I
don't.
know.
But like when there's a difference in between, okay, let's hit each other up on text. We don't call, we don't do anything. We'll play 6 games of Warzone and then you go on about your day. To me, that person is in a worse place than me and you sitting in a Discord call bullshitting all day and we mute ourselves to go take a shit for an hour and then we come back and we play video games and we're all playing Mario Party and everything else or we're streaming Mario Party. You know what I'm saying? Like that to me is different. There's a different level to that and it's kind of odd because I don't think it's as bad as it could be, but it definitely could be better if we actually use the tools that we have.
Yeah,
Like, remember having that aunt that you never talked to because long distance was fucking expensive and they lived halfway across the country?
and I
Well, now
blame
she's right
social
next to you.
media for all of that because like, or at least like how early you access it, because you don't develop the
I think
skills.
that,
Yeah,
yes, I think the age of it is the big problem. Like, if we look at this and we go about this in this way, and we even use our consuming as a way to understand. If me, Verlis, and fucking Aiden Matthias from the Lore Lodge and Wendigoon all decided to play fucking Mario Party. Guess what? We all don't have to get on a plane to play Mario Party and hang out and be friends. We can live all across the country and we could hang out every single night and you could have your best friends around you every single day. But at the same time, when you don't allow it to connect you, you allow it to disconnect you. It causes such a fucking disconnect that there's a huge problem. That's why I'm saying I don't think internet is the problem. I think the problem is the way the culture actually has shifted. The culture shifted to the point where we're not even communicating anymore. We're just we've gone back to caveman times where we're all herder, herder, herder.
yeah, we
It's
learned.
stupid.
The thing is, like, we learned how to hang out. The internet disincentivizes that. Internet wrong, Verlis wins. Next topic.
So internet knows bounds, no bounds. And this shit to me was crazy. So I sent you over that
Yeah,
link. Can you
I'm
read that out to me?
fucking. You want me to read this? This is your
Yeah, read
story.
it. No,
Oh, okay. Now
th-
I understand. I understand. Cause like, oh
yeah,
wait, you want my reaction as
yep,
I'm reading it.
yep, exactly. And you're not on
Our
cam, so it works better because then.
Yeah. It also means I get to kick back in my chair and just commentate. But so yeah, r slash RP Clips GTA. I know of roleplay in GTA. I don't know how
So
big of a
have
scene it is, but I
oh,
know it's
it's
also
huge. It's
what I mean is I don't know how big of a scene it is, but I know that it must be a scene, and it's
Have you
actually
have you
huge.
tried GTA RP or anything like that?
No,
Have you played GTA Online in like a server on your computer?
no.
You would probably enjoy that because it's like so min-maxy and you can have fun with it. I used to play a game called Yoville. I don't remember if we talked about this
You've
before
talked
or
about
not.
this many times.
Fucking love games like that, where it's just like you can kind of social engineer your way to where you want to be.
No, I
That's
don't
why I
like
like GTA RP.
social engineering or RP. I like to just
Okay.
grind and click and watch numbers go up. And if I have to interact with people, that gets tricky.
Yeah, but
But
you
yeah,
could be the little slave that, goes and gets all the gun parts and then I can sell them and we make millions and number go up. Team.
people suck, and I don't like dealing with them. But yeah,
Yep.
so we got a big post on GTA roleplay. Hey everybody, there's not really an easy way to say this, but Jillian, my wife of 15 years, and the role player of someplace, the love of my life, has apparently been cheating on me for months with the Twitch streamer Moon Moon. This is fake. Immediately, Moon Moon Twitch
It
streamer.
feels fake, it's stupid, but
I know.
continue.
And it's RP, and of course it's Reddit.
Yep. It's
Attached
real. It hit number 3 on Twitter in trending topics.
Attached, you will find their messages from TwitchCon that I found when I was trying to see if she was okay. If you're not responding to my check-in messages Saturday night, really saddens me that it came after months of assuring me it was all roleplay. I was sold that lie about sex positivity and girl bossing. Oh, and now it's taken that turn. Love it. When in reality, they were just living out their secret fantasies while both being married. I'm sure their rabid fan bases won't care, but I'm also sure there are plenty of people who will feel vindicated by this, especially those who warn about the dangers of ERP. We can talk about that part, like just everything up to this point, and we can finish reading it in a
Okay.
bit. Yeah. Wow.
So have you experienced any people that actually do things like this, like sext in role play things?
I generally stay away from those kind of weirdos, and I know it's
But
like a big thing in the furry
they're a
community,
huge
but it mostly gets mocked.
really?
Yeah.
The furry connection is a weird one to me. Probably because they actually could be animals and actually enjoy what they're doing. I could understand it now. You know, see that autism work? Um,
No, the whole thing is
it's
just oh whoa, like Nuzzle's bulge that they just sexy like that.
this shit. You know the episode of SpongeBob where it cuts out and then there's like a real life gorilla that pops into
Yeah.
the screen? That's what this feels like to me. It's like, holy shit, guys, the thing's happening. Guys, they're onto us, and then run away. Like it's this shit has been happening for decades. Fucking decades. And this is the first time that it's gone this viral. That to me is crazy. That to me is the fucked up part. And, you know,
I think that's
she is
because everyone
showing,
sees role playing as weirdo shit.
well, everybody saw video gaming as weird person shit 20 years ago. Did you ever think that there was going to be a time in our life where D&D is a normal common occurrence?
Yeah.
I
'Cause
didn't.
I saw it not being like that too weird, and it seemed like it was getting a lot of steam quickly. Role playing has been
Mhm.
around in every community forever. Because like this
Oh,
isn't role
absolutely.
playing game kind of role play. This is I want to live out fantasy role play, and it's always been like the sub niche of gaming
And
or whatever.
that to me is the interesting part is this is a woman that cheated on her husband of 15 years because she got feels in a fucking role playing
Yeah, that
location.
is a 100% outcome that
Do you
does
know?
not surprise me in any way. That I'm like, yeah, this has always happened, and it's happened a lot.
So when you were working, and obviously I understand you don't like people, but everybody kind of craves the human interaction a little bit. Did you develop feelings for people that you worked with or people that you went to school with and just conversated with, and they were a little bit kind to you that day? Obviously, that's an exaggerated
Uh,
way to say it, but you understand what I'm saying.
that's hard to unpack my entire life on the spot in that kind of way.
No, I'm just saying, like,
Work, not I didn't really develop any kind of work crushes. Usually, if something happened in school, that would actually just be your high school fling, and that's how that would
Yeah.
play out.
So I had one of those after my son was born. My wife started dealing with postpartum depression and psychosis, and it turned extremely violent. Like she got very, very physically violent, and it went on and went on, and there was big problems. But this girl that I was working with, I started developing feelings for her, and I think it was because like she was just being kind and calm to me, and that's kind of what I needed at that point. It's hard not to see the genuineness of both of these situations. Like, could this just have been, completely RP and herder fun at the beginning? Yeah, there's a pretty good chance she wasn't lying to you the first time she said it. But the fifth time down the line, she probably was. And
See,
that
the
to
way
me is
I'm
kind of
like
the
really
bigger part.
upfront about my romantic intentions and feelings, so like it's not something I like stumble into, or if I'm being playful with someone else while being attached to someone else, like it doesn't cross pollinate.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I'm kind of detached from that take, but I'm more interested in like the part where he says their rabid fan bases, like Diva Jilly, who's were they popular too, or it's like not even streamer, just like oh
I'll
yeah,
look.
in
I'll look.
what?
Keep talking. I'll look.
It's like, well, in the roleplay community, everyone knows Diva Jilly. It's like, even though it's just a person. Like, that's kind of a weird thing is before streaming in YouTube, there were just people in a community that everyone knew, and they were just those people, or like that guy on the forums that's always been there and is like the most popular person that's like, is that Diva Jilly? Were they actually like a
Princes are
person?
me.
What? What?
So I looked her up on Twitter and she has 7K. And you'd be like, okay, she's probably a little bit bigger than us, right?
Well, I don't even like. I'm also kind of like surprised, but I'm not like because like when you think about these days, like oh, if you don't have 50K, you're a nobody kind of idea. But it's like if you got
And
70K organically without being a content creator, that means you're a big deal in wherever you got that from.
and this is her.
Oh,
Not crazy, not perfect, but just so we guys have an idea. Um,
if I was
so
lonely, I would take.
so 7K on Twitter, that's not crazy. I would assume probably like maybe 20K on YouTube and Twitch. That would be my guess.
Do they even have a YouTube Twitch?
Twitch, 55,000 followers.
Wow.
So if that's
Oh yeah,
mainly
because they were
organic,
at TwitchCon,
yep.
so
If that's
popular enough
mainly
Twitch
organic, that's
streamer,
huge.
and then Moon Moon.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah,
look
so
him
they
up now.
actually have enough to have a rabid community. That's what kind of surprised me, where I'm just like, oh, and not this is like maybe that's also why, because it was like just popular enough.
This is where this nope, this is where it gets crazy. So I just searched up Moon Moon. This dude has 1.2 million followers on Twitch.
Yeah,
His is like video streams. The video, the VODs are getting in between 120,000 views and 186,000 views, both within the past 2 days. So
that's
within
okay. Like, until you said that, I didn't care because I'm like, well, a million follower Twitch streamer kind of ain't shit for the most part with
no, but
like how, and is also
restream
not
VODs,
a
that's
surprise.
huge.
It's also not a surprise in any capacity to me, where it's like, yes, GTA 5 is like the most played game ever, and you could probably find 20 million subscriber GTA channels for every facet of that game. How many hundreds of million follower GTA channels are there or content creators? Tons. So that's why I'm just like, okay, it doesn't surprise me that a GTA something is that big, but Twitch VODs getting views like that on Twitch VODs, that's crazy because no one has those.
Yeah, and so there's 3 Twitters that are linked to this, Twitch account, and I don't know who is what. So, there is one named Tuna Fish. Oh, that's artist credits, okay. I misread exactly where I was going. So, their actual Twitter, 123K. Yeah, you're doing something.
Yeah.
You're doing
I just
something.
don't think the numbers are relevant in how today's social media operates,
Oh,
like
it's
except in
not.
like yeah, except in certain ways. So that's why I'm just kind of like it makes sense this got escape velocity then, but also just like even if this was let's say 220K Twitch streamers because it's
Yeah.
TwitchCon cheating, that would be enough to make it go big, I think.
Yeah.
But what I'm wondering is if you got 1 million followers on Twitch, where are you finding the time to role play? How do they do it?
That's what he's streaming.
He's got 100K weirdos watching roleplay GTA streaming.
Okay,
And he's
so
probably role playing with that chick, and the dude's watching it going, nah, there's real emotions here.
I wonder if Josh knows him because I guess he plays old school RuneScape. So we might actually be able to get him as a guest. That'd be interesting to kind of hear about what the
Well,
fuck's going on.
that,
But
nah.
no, I want to see some degeneracy.
I,
But
I'm trying to think, like, is that what Real Men Talk Shit is about, though? Do
yeah,
we
because then
do
we
we
could flip
put
it.
such a non-man cheater, even to let them embarrass themselves?
I don't know, man. Like and that's something that, we could have a meta conversation now. Holy fuck.
Well, that's why I did it.
It is hard to figure out new guests to expand and explore new thought processes when you're trying not to consume content so your content doesn't become like a soundproof box of everything that's going on in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fucking hard. Like I have a list of people that I'm going to reach out to today probably. But as a whole, do you know how hard it is to have new ideas that are currently evolving always? Like we work together so much better than I've seen and expected. You know what I'm saying? This shit is crazy. How do you push 1.2 million followers, but fuck up this badly and this publicly everywhere?
And see, what I mean is, like, if you're that much of a fuck up, do I even want to talk to you for an hour or two in any format? Like, that's just someone I don't want to associate for any reason.
So in your opinion, and then we'll go back to the original post. If you had to, if we were going to do something like interview people whack pack style, where they're like people
See,
with,
that's what this isn't. This isn't that to me.
but that to me is. He's so terminally online that he developed feels for a girl that he plays GTA RP with because she's
I don't
heard her
consider that
cute.
terminally online either. Like, the
He
I don't think.
streams for 6 hours a day and still plays more than that.
Yeah, I mean, I do.
That
I do so much off. Like, for all the
I do too.
amount of gaming I put into content, like half of that
But
isn't even streamed, if not more. Like a majority of
but
my
do you
gaming is
develop
not.
feelings for every person that you interact with in those
But it's
games?
not every person. Like, the thing that I don't like about it is like, yeah, if you're married, then because the biggest thing to me is like faithfulness. I am a 100% true monogamy. Will not consider feelings once I'm locked in, dedicated kind of person. So I can't even imagine how you get to a point of cheating at any capacity. So like
Have you
that's the bad
explored
part
those
to me.
ideas
Wait, no.
of like, okay, so is monogamy the answer? Or
Yes.
is polyamorous the answer? Have you actually like thought
Yeah,
and explored
because
those thoughts?
if I'm dealing with like liberals and weirdos and stuff, I have to have a kind of tight argument to be on the spot on that.
No,
And
absolutely. Like a couple years ago when my separation started, like that was part of the conversation was non-monogamy part of the answer of what could happen. And
yeah.
or eventually I figured out no, I don't think it's the right answer because, it's just impulse and trying to do the wrong thing so that way you feel good.
Mhm.
That was my answer. But I could understand where I would fall into that very, very, very fucking quickly. I could understand where a lot of people could fall into that very quickly if they have the availability.
I
Yeah,
found
I'll
that
say that.
picture and I'm like that's how my argument got summarized. Someone else posted that on Twitter and I was just like, "Yep, that's I don't need anything else."
So to me, and I want your opinion on this. Yes, it absolutely. That's how I am in
Why would anyone
relationships.
want it any other
Yeah.
way unless you're just a degenerate?
So when you're in a relationship, do you interact with anybody of the other sex, or do you like hold yourself accountable in those situations?
I interact with others because I trust myself and my partner.
So
Actually, I find it
when I
more comforting. Like I find it a lot better when just kind of like locked in Therefore, I trust my emotions around other people more.
In my past relationship, I didn't. I at 15, I was sexting with a girl, another 15-year-old, and that was caught and everything else, and that changed the entire course of our entire relationship because it caused her to be insecure. When that happened, it was like a hard and fast line of you're not allowed to talk to females at all because you do this. So it's hard. It's hard when I'm developing such a healthy relationship now that I'm like, okay, I can actually interact with anybody because that's what I have to do. I'm a human. Because for so long I was told it's bad to interact at all and it was seen as like some taboo. Now all of a sudden it's weird to me. You know what I'm saying? And like getting
Mhm.
anybody else's perspective on that is crazy because it's like, oh yeah, I can just talk. I'm like, but if I talk, then I'm kind. And when I'm kind, then I'm an asshole because I'm cheating. It's like it's such a weird triggering kind of thing because you don't realize the way that other people make you think.
Yeah. Well, and going back, like, I don't think this is a terminally online thing as much as it is a
Hey, I like your eyebrows.
degenerate thing. And while it is an
Oh, definitely.
overlap, I think you're degenerate before you become terminally online kind of idea.
I agree.
So that's why it's
So
like, yeah, this is weird. And I could also see it like if you're not committed to someone and you get into roleplay and you're like, wow, I'm just down with this person. I could see that
yeah.
developing as well. But not when it's just like, oh, you're established, you have all this stuff. Like the way that it happens in that kind of way, it's like, no, you can't seriously role play to the point of having feelings if both of you are already in a relationship or married. Like that's where it's just like, nah, y'all fucking suck.
Okay. So what happened with these bitches at TwitchCon? You still got
Oh,
the
I got it.
message up?
Yeah, that's right. We
Yep.
gotta pick up the bottom half of this.
Yep.
I got curious after finding these messages, checked other DMs. See, like that's another thing where I believe like the relationship is dead once you check their DMs, like once you open up their phone or their computer. I can understand the seeing this because they said like, oh, they didn't check in, so I checked in on them and then I found these messages. At that point, like, the distrust is there. You kind of end it when you do that, but then you also
I
get your closure.
After everything that I dealt with, I completely agree. I found that my wife was cheating when I was at work before, and I repaired the marriage and kind of continued to move on.
Mhm.
And I found so many pictures and so much shit while I was working. I had a panic attack at work. I walked up to my boss and I was like, I'm going to need to handle something because she was talking about having the guy meet her at my job and they were going to fuck in the parking lot. I told my boss, I was like,
Mhm.
I got to handle something. And if the cops show up, the cops show up. Like, I'm not going to hold myself back from this. And I showed them the messages and they're like, yup, go ahead. Like, this shit
Yeah.
isn't okay.
Yeah,
It's
when you
not
already hit
okay.
that level of distrust, it's like relationship probably not going to last much longer no matter how it plays out.
And that first sentence proves exactly what my point is if we're in DMs, I'm not going to treat you any different than I would in public because everything as a content creator is a huge fucking problem if you handle them incorrectly.
Yeah. All right. So there were multiple guys she was sending and receiving sending sexual videos and receiving. Yeah, this ain't RP. This is just romance. All of them in no pixel. No point attaching these. She would call them her daddy or favorite. It's also just a hoe for multiple. Uh, whatever pet names, emotional relationships behind my back, then had the audacity to act completely normal at home. That's also the other killer. Her best friend warned me about this, but I didn't take it seriously. Level of compulsive lying, sociopathy is honestly something I should have seen coming. Same person who would be the first to grandstand and virtue signal about any other streamer drama. Yeah, it usually be that way when it's like the thing that you're so big about that those are the demons in your closet. Since I was unemployed, she told me my job was to check other streams to give her intel on what people were doing at certain times to make sure she had the best outcome for her character. Not fair to anyone involved. Very scummy, but it worked. She became a big name on the server. Damn, getting the boyfriend to like,
So she was cheating. not only in her relationship, but in the game that she was trying to portray herself in, she was legitimately cheating.
Getting the boyfriend to stream snipe for your clout, yo. I kind of respect
Not
it.
about him stream sniping to get better dicks than his.
Well, if it was just for the growth, not of the dick, but of her channel, like again, I respect that. But then
Honestly,
it
that I
backfired.
that I respect so much more than all of this shit. As a whole, if there was a way to cheat your way to the fucking top in YouTube or Twitch or whatever,
Yeah.
dude, I'm right there beside you. Let's fucking go. Let's exploit
Well,
every single
not
shot you got.
not any anti-TOS, because I'm still big
Yes,
on just like no clickbait to get there, no fake
I
misleading information.
I agree 100%.
Yeah,
I'm saying as a whole, like if it's okay, so if you upload shorts and you uncheck the box that they get pushed to
that's
your
fake. That's
subscribers,
still not.
no, it's really not.
It's
Um, it's really not.
it is hundo
Exploring
percent.
wise, it so I figured it out after looking at it. When you push it out to non-subscribers, it pushes it out randomly to more people that would possibly be in your sphere of people that would watch your channel. So for us, podcasting, mental health, gaming, and those things, it would pop up in. Those people can count as a swipe and watch or a swipe away. If your subscribers do not click on the video when it pops up in their shorts swipe feed, and they're talking about the sub box, it counts as a swipe away guaranteed. So it's essentially random organic growth, which is why it's a glitch.
The algorithm's
But
black box, but it's definitely not any kind of like exploit or supercharge or
yeah, it's not a crazy exploit, but is it a way to logically get away from the subscriber death? Absolutely, because there's going to be people that die on your channel always. Like Woody's channel is a 1 million subscriber channel. Do you know how many people of those are active?
I know it's not a lot, but checking the box doesn't change that on any content format.
I think what they were saying is it's a way to grow because it doesn't deal with the death of your channel. The death of your channel is still there. It's still going to happen, but it more has a more positive outcome to it. But like the fact that she was doing all of this behind his back and kind of going to this crazy level, it almost makes me wonder if she was literally one of those e-thoughts and selling herself not only in the game but on stream too.
Well, definitely on stream, every female streamer does that at the risk of sounding misogynist, where you can tell they're fishing for donations at all points, no matter what. 80% of
But
streamers.
do you know how hard it is to genuinely not say something? To me, it was weird. It was weird letting people use money to get my attention.
Hmm.
And the first couple of streams I did when I hit fucking affiliate in a week, it was 300 people being in chat at the same fucking time because everybody wanted to understand it and get to know me. So at the same time, it's like, okay, fuck. Well, okay. So if you guys want a direct interaction or direct conversation, send it with $5. Subscribe. Give me a weight so that way I can pick you out of the fucking batch because this is
Yeah.
fucking weird.
I just think that there's more weight to the biological allure of some dude getting engagement from a woman.
Yeah, and there should be. It's insane that this is the level that kind of the world is going to. So,
Yeah, and then the last line of this one, like, guess moral of the story is no one's safe and nothing is. It, yeah,
and
that's the
no,
tragedy.
as the world becomes more and more and more degenerate, we're going to see more and more problems in the world. And as it goes farther, we're going to go farther and have a bigger problem because more and more
Liberalism.
is accepted.
Yep.
Like,
You need to protect, like, that's why it's called conservative versus liberal. Like, upholding and protecting values is still very important. No matter
and
how bad they sound on the surface when you're on, like, the level 15 of that heat map.
And it's hard. I think it's hard for a lot of people with mental illness or neurodivergence to kind of pick up on. But the fact that life has rules or life has morality or life can put you in a box does not mean that the box is wrong. It doesn't mean that the
Or
box isn't
life is
okay.
unfair.
It means that to be a moral or upstanding person, these lines are where you have to conform to so that way you're okay. That's I think it's hard for a lot of people to grab.
What also goes back to why I think religion is important, whether or not you believe in God. Like, if you're an atheist, you're just cooked because then you actually aren't trying to find any foundations inside of like what it means to be human. And that's why I love what
Mhm.
Jordan Peterson has to say, where it's just like, at the very least, it's parables about the human condition, and you need to fucking understand those.
Yeah. And like I think our conversation with Woody actually, was meaningful in a way that a lot of people don't understand. He's like, "Well, I don't believe in God." Okay, you don't believe in God, but you believe in all of these things
Hmm.
being the answer to how we handle things. So as a whole, we both grasp the same exact rule for what life is.
Yeah.
Do we execute that at a different level? Yeah, everybody does. But at the same time, you seeing a level that a lot of people don't get is huge. It just really is.
Yeah. And
So
also what I like about Jordan Peterson, the way that he talks about demons, like demons either real or manifested, or like it's something about being a person and the nastiness of the human condition, where it's like you don't want to feed demons through any form of like sinning, whether or not the sins are real and actually put you into hell, or if God is watching. Just don't sin and don't fuel whatever badness lurks inside of being a person.
what's crazy is, and I just thought of this, and it could be a way somebody else has explained it, but I don't. I don't think I've ever heard this. Each one of those sins is an exaggerative part of what you want in life. So if you ever like think of this as an RPG character, if you make it so way you focus entirely on intelligence, you'll become such a rounded off individual that the only thing you are is terminally online and autistic. Or you go into hypersexuality and you crave lust and the only thing you can do is be sociable to people to get sex. You're going to become a very rounded off individual. You're not going to be able to touch the other parts of life. I think that that's kind of what those basic, sins are. Is if you hyper focus on one, you're going to destroy your life. If you focus on all of them, you're going to destroy your life. You can't put 10 out of 10 in fucking lust or greed or gluttony and hope that it fucking works out in the end.
Yeah,
You have
that's
to
because
hope
they're
that,
bad things. You can't all in on a bad thing, but you also can't have a little bit of every bad thing.
but like, if you think about all of the sins other than murdering somebody else, in moderation, every single person does all of them always.
Yeah, that's why it's more of an avoidance. Like, you don't want to do it to a sinning level.
But as somebody who was previously atheist, how do you grasp that? How do you grasp that there's things in this world that you have to do and that you want to do and that make you a rounded person? But if you don't
I
do
think
them,
rounded
you're
is the
seen as
wrong
a
word because, like,
positive.
well-rounded means, like, you're
That
well-rounded.
that's what I'm saying. Well-rounded as in you're exploring all parts of life.
Yeah. Well, you use rounded as, like, oh, if you only do this, that makes you rounded.
I understand. I
Yeah, that's what I
flipped the
mean.
word,
Yeah.
but yeah. But
Just wanted
that's
to
what I'm saying
clarify.
is like if you touch everything and you're well-rounded and doing everything that you want to do, that doesn't make you necessarily a good person. And somebody who was previously atheist, it's hard to grasp that, that's not being a good person. That's being a
Mhm.
good human, but not a good person. And I tell my kids that all of the time.
Well, that's
I
why I
tell
think the
them the
importance.
East versus West Coast shit all of the time.
Well, that's why I think the importance is understanding like what it means about being a person and the pitfalls of humanity, and again that nastiness inside of you. That's like what if you are an atheist and you just reject any teaching of religion arbitrarily, it's like, well, you're rejecting all that stuff and it means you're only setting yourself up for failure or evil.
And it's hard. It's hard. Okay, so personally, I don't think waiting till marriage for sex is probably going to be the answer for 99.9% of people. I don't think it's the answer. I don't think that that's how it works.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how the
I
human
think a big
condition
thing about
works.
religion is separating like how dated it is, because like back
Yeah.
then, yes, you want to proliferate your group to beat other groups, and that's why we have these. Okay, I thought my mic fell. That's why we had the Crusades. So like,
Yeah.
and then also why it's like, oh yeah, don't eat pork because it makes you more sick back then. So like, if you're gonna
Exactly.
separate that, it's like, no, that's why you extract the meaningful stuff, undated,
Exactly. That's why
and
I'm
it
saying
still
like
holds. Don't be an
I
absolutist.
if you look at everything in a vague light, then everything will fit. And it's hard. It's hard because life has so many mirrors. It reflects everything that you do and everything that you put into it. And I was telling my daughter this the other day. So we drove to Walmart, and I don't know if this chick was homeless or just down on her luck or whatever, but she was sitting in front of Walmart with two babies and a sign. And I'm not saying this because, oh my God, praise me. I'm saying this because, like, I've been there. I was struggling to that level. I was homeless. I was struggling and living on a friend's extra bedroom. And, you look at these things and you're like, okay, no, what do you need? I walked up, I gave her the last $10 in my pocket to make sure that she had diapers. I went there and bought them myself and handed them to her. And my daughter's like, "Dad, she has fancy clothes." I'm like, "No, kid, that's not how you look at these things. It doesn't matter if somebody is using you. It doesn't matter if there is a problem and you don't see it. They are reaching out and they're saying, "Hey, I need help. Hey, I'm not okay." You cannot look at every ulterior motive that that person could have because they're asking for help. If you look for every ulterior motive ever, you're going to just feel like everybody's fucking negative. It's it's so hard. It's so hard to kind of full on grasp exactly what being a human is. Because it's like every single person should have stopped and made sure those kids are okay. Every single fucking person.
I disagree on that scale.
Why?
Because like, there are going to be bad actors in the world, and you have to be aware. So that doesn't mean like you're obliged to help every person that's
I'm
coming
not
off
I'm
as
not saying
needy.
it that way because I don't help everybody blindly. But if somebody is standing there in 80-degree weather with their two kids standing underneath a tree with a stroller and a piece of cardboard, you might ask, right? You might ask, "Oh, do you have something to drink, something to eat?" At the minimum. Most people would.
Well, I think you saying like everyone should help gets to a level of, at that point it's blind to a degree. If everyone is supposed to default help,
I don't think everyone should help everyone. I'm saying I think when there is logical expectation of blindness to what the situation is and, somebody's asking for help, I think reaching out is not the wrong answer. I probably said it incorrectly at first, so I apologize, but, like, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating because so many people aren't taught the way that everything works and the right from wrong and everything else, that they just default to everybody's a piece of shit, and it's like, no, there's such a majority that aren't, that the minority of pieces of shit ruin it for absolutely everybody, and I think that that kinda dehumanizes us a lot in those circles. You see the
I
liberals
don't
that
know.
will accept all the bullshit, and you see the conservatives that are like, "Oh, fuck. If you're not a part of the church, I guess I can't help you."
I think the problem is like everyone's gotten burned though, so it's
Yeah,
kind of
I
impossible to
agree.
not be negative. Where it's like, well, the last time I gave the supposedly needy mom $20, I saw her with her boyfriend driving away in a luxury car the next day. I'm not saying it happens all the time, and I could still be like
Well,
the minority, but I think everyone has like some kind of experience where it's just like, oh, I thought that was a genuine person of genuine need, and then I got burned somehow.
it's hard. I was homeless and I had Echo shirts on. Is that crazy? No. It's still a
Yeah, I think it's like
$50
shallow to
shirt.
go like, oh, her clothes were too nice, but I think you
And it's
should
like,
always have some form of suspicion,
yes,
regardless of
suspicion,
how it comes
absolutely.
off.
But if that kid is suffering, the kid didn't ask to be homeless. The kid
Hmm.
didn't give the mom an iPhone. The kid didn't give her a $500 car note. They gave her a kid. If the kid doesn't have diapers and things are wrong, I'll help. I'll help if I see the problem. You know what I'm saying? It's just,
Mhm.
it's so hard to grasp. And I hate that argument of, oh, well, her there, she gets food stamps and she has an iPhone. It's like, the world is so much more complex than that, man. Like, it's so much more complex than that. We shouldn't be expecting other people to sell their belongings so that way they can make sure things are okay right in this second. Because then they're not only $800 behind, but now they're all of next month behind too. It's just a weird life. So there are two things on this list that I was like, okay, I want your fucking assessment of this shit. What the fuck is going on with Pal World now finally being sued almost a year after, blowing up?
Yeah,
What
I
the
did a
fuck is
video on
this?
it. So
I know you did.
Nintendo made a patent filing in 2021. Everyone's getting it wrong because internet outrage for everyone's narratives and
Yeah.
idiocy. Where they're like, oh, they after Power World release, they filed a patent for the catching mechanics. It's like, no, actually, this patent has existed for Pokemon Legends Arceus, and probably even before then. So the idea is if you throw a sphere into an open world scenario, it summons a creature, and that creature interacts with Pokemon or like other creatures, items, or the environment. So Nintendo patented that back in
Which is
2021.
at least as far as the United States goes, and you might know just as much as I do. When you file a patent, you want to make that patent as vague as it possibly can be because it essentially gives you ownership of whatever that patent is.
Yeah,
So if I patented a cup that looks like this, nobody else can make a cup that looks exactly like this. But if I make a patent on a black cup with a lid, that's very vague and gives me a
that's
lot
not
of
allowed
power.
though. Like you can't because then you
Yeah,
like
but
upon
I'm saying
review
that
or if it goes to the courts, and a judge will be like, no, that's too vague. That's generic. So you have to have it
my
not
my point
generic,
is you want it to be as vague as it possibly can be to catch as many things giving you
encompassing,
money.
not vague.
But yes, but you also want it to be as specific enough as it possibly can be, so that way it gets accepted.
Yeah, that way it's identifiable as its own thing. Again, like you
The
can't
the
make it
Pokemon
generic.
the Pokemon patent is very, very, very precise and specific. That's the point that I was getting across. You're good. Keep
Mhm.
keep going.
Well, I think the thing is like it corners an obvious mechanic, but
Mhm.
also does like it comes down to how the court's going to see it. It's like there's a chance both ways. It's like Nintendo gets it because they decide to file for an open world mechanic that was
How
not
do
well
you
explored.
see it? How do you see this playing out? What's your perspective on this?
Well, that like I'm one where it's like, well, I can't decide or determine laws, so it's kind of pointless for that. Like I said, I
I
think
know.
it goes either way.
To
Like
me,
I'm
I
not saying
think
Nintendo wins. I'm not saying Power World wins. I'm saying it's interesting and it comes down to the courts, and we're going to see the system do its system. And that's the more interesting part to me is how does it play out, not what I want to see play out.
I think Pokemon is very, very clear and in the right. And that's why I asked what your opinion
All I'm saying is
was.
like since they have the filing, like it's a
Yeah.
legitimate suit. Is it a
And
legitimate
it's
patent? We'll find out.
it's black and white. It's does this follow what their laws are on patents?
Yep. And it's also not copyright infringement in any way, which was like another point of
That's what was
misinformation.
interesting to me, is they didn't feel like they had enough for a copyright, but the patent was clear and
Yeah.
very, very viable to sue,
And it's not
and they
like this
did.
was yeah. And it's also
The
not like
fact,
the patent was made out of spite or this is like
yeah,
some kind of retaliatory move. It's like, no, this is Nintendo naturally defending its patents and its owned mechanics.
and to me that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. It proves the point of there wasn't enough copyright. There wasn't.
Hmm.
And we had this argument. We had this conversation before. I could see where the conversation is you made a fake mon based off of this and then combined it. And look, they had that. I understand that agreement almost completely. We had that conversation on the show. I was like, I could understand where your argument is that this crosses copyright in some form or fashion. But guess what? Legally, it didn't.
Yep.
It didn't. Otherwise, they would have sued. Or
Yeah,
is this the
patent
first
like
lawsuit
copyright
out of
isn't the
many?
vibe check.
I guess Power World just released on PlayStation, from
Yep,
what I
that too.
saw. So that's interesting. They're getting the shit stirred around them again. They're like, let's release on PlayStation. Timing, fantastic, Power World. You did a great job.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. That game died very, very quickly from what it seemed.
It didn't die.
Is it
It's
starting to pick
still
back up or no?
no, it never really died. I think it still held like 20K concurrence, which is big. Like at no point did it have less players than the most recent Pokemon game.
Oh damn, that's kind of
Well, I
crazy.
mean, when you think about it, like you go on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet online, do you think there's 10,000 people playing that game right now? Absolutely
No,
not.
otherwise you wouldn't run into like off-brand Japan or Chinese people.
Yeah.
You'd end up running into like I remember playing Gen 6 and that was the gen I played the most of, especially with like playing VGC and stuff like that. Like if you went online, there was, you would run into a Chinese or Japanese person once every 3 or 4 battles, maybe. Even if you played at off hours. There was still
Hmm.
Americans that were on or French people that were on or
Yeah, it's
whatever.
97% Asian players now, so concurrent player base
That
is bad.
that
And
to me
even
is
on the
weird.
ranked ladder, like if you did free battle, like you go up against Jim twice in a row sometimes, but ranked battles going up against the same person never happen. Now it happens all the time.
Yeah. It's really interesting, man, because the numbers of how many people are playing this game or that game are now so in our face when back in the day it was Call of Duty that had that number. That was it. There wasn't very many games
RuneScape.
back in the day that saw 100K players concurrent or whatever.
Now you go on the
I never
RuneScape.
played
Actually,
RuneScape.
a lot of MMOs, you go like because they were proud. They were just like, we have
Yeah.
40K people online in 2010. That is the biggest shit. So we are advertising it.
Well, I remember the big number being, "Oh, we've seen 10 million active accounts ever." And it's like, that number's huge, but
Hmm.
how many of those are unique individual places and people? That, then you bring up a whole nother conversation of Smurfs and shit like that. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's why
I
they'd
always thought
also
that shit
show
was
their active
interesting.
online numbers.
So Pal World is boycott being sued. And TCG Pocket is finally releasing. What is the US release date on that? That's October, right?
October 30th. That came out over a month ago at Worlds in August.
Yes.
We got the
I'm just
release
making
date.
sure I remembered correctly.
Yeah,
Uh, I am so fucking excited for this shit. I have
I'm
so
very
many
excited.
questions, but I don't know if they've been covered or not.
I
I
did a
try and keep
video on it.
myself out of the loop. I just watched your video before we started while I was making my G Fuel. Use code RMTS to check out. And
And he froze. And I don't know the mechanics behind that on the
I'm
recording
not
side.
freezing. You're good. You're good.
Okay.
Oh, there it is. Um, so with TCG Pocket, is there just the first 151 and it's just the start of the card game originally again?
They're making entirely new sets.
So it's like they're tying back to those sets and starting new stuff, and it's going to be completely unique to that game, right?
They're pretty much just like making an alternate timeline with a different battle style, but like when you look at the cards, it's lower power level, but
Yeah, like I saw the
modernized.
original Charizard, I think, if I remember correctly. And like there was a couple cards like that kind of like link back to, 1997 where we were all kind of
But they're
fiending
also
for
not
cards and
that
stuff.
shit of cards. They're like more
Yeah,
like it's more
absolutely.
playable.
It seems like they're doing exactly like what Duel Links did, where you start at the beginning and you have to work your way through it, but there's not as much progression in the game.
Well,
It's
it also means like
interesting.
you get to curate it with all the like lessons you've learned from
Yeah.
the modernization of the game. Like they removed prize cards because that was a cute gimmick back in the 90s, but now if you want like a serious competitive TCG, it's like can't have prize cards.
No, it seems like they're going ultra hyper competitive. And honestly, you know, I would have played Pokemon if it wasn't such a big, expensive game to get into because it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars currently.
Actually, not. Pokemon is pretty cheap.
I thought to get like some of the supporters and stuff, it was $200-300 and,
Oh,
and shit
absolutely.
like
No, it's
that.
Yu-Gi-Oh. That's
And
Magic. Pokemon's always under $100, and you have a high tier meta deck.
but whatchamacallit, like it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Like you can see the disconnect. The one thing I can say about Yu-Gi-Oh is when they have cards that are like meta defining or staples in every deck, they will either get rid of them or run an entire set with just those. And that's the one thing I really did like about getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh when I did was there was availability to build pretty much any deck because the staples would be coming out within weeks or even within the year. They would have one or two sets that just had all of the staples. And that probably does take out a lot of the investability of what the card is. But being able to play the game, it makes it a hell of a lot easier. Yeah, I'm really
Yu-Gi-Oh
interested in
just
Pocket.
giga expensive though.
Oh, it can be. It definitely can be. Especially if there's only one rarity of one card and it's only
Yeah.
available in one
Well, they
place. Yeah.
like Konami deliberately makes the best staple card secret rare, and it's always $100 per set.
Yeah. And then they have the gold series that releases that ultra rare and gold rare, and then it's available to everybody at like a 1% pull rate. That's what I'm saying is like there's availability for it, but at the same time, it's shitty during the time. That's why I'm interested in this because, Duel Links was shitty because it was such a cash grab.
Yeah.
They put 100 cards into a pack and you had to pull 3 of the entire box just that way you could get all of the secrets and ultras. And it gets so fucking
Well, I think
expensive.
what
It's like
makes Pokemon better
$80
is
a month.
like just having an online TCG. Like
Yeah.
that's where the accessibility is, where I don't have to go to the store. I don't have to like physically buy and seek out the packs, and I don't have to like. I'm not only allowed to play on Tuesday at 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. I think that's the bigger thing. It's like if you just have a good mobile accessible game, cool. I don't care about
Are
cost or anything.
are they releasing a Steam version or anything like that at
No, it's only
release or
mobile.
no? That's gonna be shitty.
Nah.
Shitty to stream. That's where my mind was like,
Uh,
okay, so I'll download it on my PC and I'll stream from that. Nope, now I have to figure out how to use my iPad or my phone, which gets scary streaming your phone screen.
mhm.
Um, but yeah, I am so fucking excited for this. I think
Oh,
I
I'm
think
very
we talked
excited
about
too.
it 3
Right,
times.
I just want it to be like the next Pokemon Go. If it's a Pokemon Go of TCG, that's all I want.
Honestly, like thinking about it that way, I want to see how many links player count. So Duel Links currently in the past 30 days has 4,000 as a peak player and 2,600 as an average player.
That's ass.
For a 10-year-old game.
That's still ass.
I want to see all
So I don't think
time
the
though.
age of the game should matter when it's something like Yu-Gi-Oh, where it's like, oh,
Last
this
7
is
years.
good and a representation of the game.
Well, it cycled, but they ended up killing it. I
Yeah.
wish that this was all time. So at max, its highest was 13K just on Steam, but it's also on mobile and everything
Yeah.
else. So it's kind of hard to correlate.
I still think that's kind of weak if you're thinking like, oh, this is the big, Hearthstone of Yu-Gi-Oh. You want to capture more of the community than just that amount, even like
Well,
consideration for Steam.
so in 2016, when Duel Links grossed, it made $284 million and it's a free game. Well, freemium game.
That's also not surprising because I follow like all the Pokemon mobile games where it's like the amount that Masters made, and I think
Yeah.
even Pokemon Shuffle made 100
Oh,
million.
here's the player count. Total downloads 150 million. Like that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big fucking number.
But that's
If
mobile, right?
Pokemon Pocket hit, it's mobile and
Yeah.
PC.
It's been like 2 degree finding 150 million on mobile, also kind of fake. Like, how much does Pokemon Unite up to? Like,
But
Pokemon
this is
Unite
one of those
never
games.
got big.
This is one of those games where you download it and then when you open it, you have another 50 gig download in order to have everything updated and everything else. So it's not like some basic bitch thing where you click it and all of a sudden it's good and everything else. It kind of has the availability to kind of be disconnected in that way. So 150 million downloads, that's a lot of fucking people. That's a lot of people playing Yu-Gi-Oh.
Mm.
Do you really think it's that common? I don't. I don't. Any person that played
Pokemon Unite has 70 million downloads on 2022, 100 million downloads. So that's mean like Pokemon Unite's past 100 million, and that game never felt big.
Yeah.
So that's why I mean it's like kind of fake. Like, yeah, you get a ton of Chinese downloads or a lot of like Asian and not like engaged downloads, where it's just like it's a
Oh,
free thing.
sorry. It's 284 million since 2016 as of September 2024. 2016 it made 24 million. And 18 and 19 it made 150 million total. So obviously it had a huge launch at the beginning and a couple years in the first
Yeah.
couple years, but once the nostalgia died off, it died.
That's what I mean. Like the numbers sound big when you compare it to other things and like how they felt. Because like at any point, did Duel Links ever feel like 100 million that had any
No,
kind of active conversion? No.
the interesting part is it was only like 76th on iPhone free apps.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
free
big.
apps are just going to get hundreds of millions.
That's crazy,
'cause-
but fuck. That's insane to know that it's just, it's downloaded that much. That's all.
I mean, it's a free
So-
app. Again, the Asian market on free mobile games is so incalculably massive.
But it makes me excited for TCG Pocket.
Yeah.
If these are the numbers that Yu-Gi-Oh, which is the third level fucking card game, hit 150 million downloads. I am not crazy to believe that TCG Pocket in the first 2 years could be downloaded 200 million times.
But I don't think those numbers necessarily mean anything.
I don't think so either, but like it could correlate to eyeballs to create content or things like that. There's multiple channels now that have hundreds of thousands of viewers because of Duel Links. Like they do transfer that way.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily excited until I actually see how it does because of Pokemon Unite.
Yeah.
Like I said, Pokemon Unite never felt as big as it is and never actually got its chance because like the community's toxic. So the community could be too toxic about this. It's like, oh, you buy packs, therefore Moist Critical makes a video, says it's pay to win, and then no one in the West buys or plays Pokemon TCG Pocket, and it just dies. So
I
it doesn't
fucking
matter if it
hope
gets
not.
250 million downloads in Japan and Singapore.
I really
If no one
fucking
in the
hope
West
not.
is
I hope this
That's what I
thing
mean. But
does something.
that's why I say like those numbers mean nothing. Western conversion, because like League of Legends is allegedly as popular as ever, even though it's like a completely dead game in North America. So it's like
And
cool. There's 80 million monthly players for League of Legends, and it's all Korea and China. Then I
it's
don't care.
weird. Like I've never even downloaded League of Legends. I've never even been questionable of, oh, should I download it and try it? It doesn't look interesting to me. I could understand where it would be interesting to some people, but I've never been like, yes, League is where I need to be. I don't understand why that game has so much. I don't. It could be, it's just been around the longest, therefore it's grown the most. I don't fucking know. It could be they're spending in esports. I
Oh no,
don't
they
genuinely know
hemorrhage.
why that game is so big.
Oh no, the game is complete ass now. But the reason why it was big early on was because it was just a really fun game, and it's kind of like if you just play. I feel like it's like, oh, I don't play FPS, and then you play like a really good COD game. It's like, oh, I'm just playing this forever now. Like that's kind of what happened with League of Legends, where it's like, oh, this new MOBA thing where I press abilities and I like
So
the
it
way
was
this
just
dude
the
looks.
first good one, essentially.
Yeah, because Dota was way too inaccessible. Because like that's like, oh, if you don't play for 100 hours, you're just dog shit, and everyone's gonna smurf on you. But the thing is, like, in season 2 and 3, when League of Legends had like its huge blow up before it even like had servers in Korea or something, it's like, yeah, it felt like more people played League of Legends, but the player base was completely tiny compared to where it is now. So you get people that are like, oh, well, League is bigger than ever according to account statistics, which like, yeah, but it's a 50th of what it was in North America. So it's a dead game.
I almost wish that they looked at that shit, or they had a different launcher, or it was Steam UK and those numbers didn't count. You know what I'm saying? I wish that we could actually see direct correlation to the availability in your country or your region, because fucking hell.
Well, companies don't want to publish that, right?
I
Games is
know
way too
that'd be
arrogant to
crazy.
admit that the game has no player base and where it's developed.
But like, think about it this way: how many times have you seen? Oh, this esports team in fucking Saudi Arabia finally was able to make it to this league, and then they go 0-16 because there's no fucking player base in the game in the region that they're in. So if they were just able to to be the cream that rose to the top. Doesn't mean that their cream is high quality. It doesn't mean anything about that. It just means that, they're acceptable.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's just common sense of
It would just be
everything.
interesting. Yeah, it would just be interesting to
Like
kind of
that's
see that
happening right now
disparity.
on my other screen. I'm watching League of Legends World Championships, and they have a play-ins where all of the like non-main regions have to like fight to get into Worlds.
Hmm?
They almost never top 8. Like they get bodied by the 4th seed, and they're the number 1 seed from Brazil.
Well, in Call of Duty, it happened too. There was a South American team during Black Ops 2, and they had one of the weirdest strats that you could ever think of. They had one person running a gun, the other 3 running riot shields on hardpoint.
Yeah,
They were playing hardpoint with 3 riot shields and somebody running around with a shotgun. And it's absolute cheese. But at the same time, they didn't have anything. Like their skill wasn't at the same level. So they're like, let's try and do it differently and see if it works. That's why that shit is so interesting to me, is like the metagaming of it all. That's why I found your channel back in the day, was like, how do I use this or that? Because I don't want to use the same shit every single fucking day. It gets fucking boring.
Well, I was just
But
on that deep game sense that no one else knew about at the time.
yeah,
I was actually
and
optimizing, not just like doing punk shit.
it's funny. I see one thing quoted against you, and it's like heavy slam Wailord, and it's like, motherfucker, when you put out 1,000 videos about each individual Pokemon, what the fuck do you expect? Even if you fucked up one thing, which I
I
don't
didn't
think you
even
did.
fuck that up.
I know that's what the second half of the sentence mattered there. I don't think you did. That's a pretty damn good fucking percentage. 99.9% is pretty fucking effective. I don't think you fucked it up, but I think it's funny that everybody hangs on fucking heavy slam Wailord as a, what the fuck is this? I don't get it. I don't understand why everybody's so brain dead that
Yeah.
they're like
And the
herder
thing about
this.
the Wailord is that it's not even like I'm making the most useless Pokemon. I'm just trying to find something for it. It's actually just a straight game IQ check. If you think it's bad, you actually know shit about Pokemon and you need my content more than anyone else.
Well, your content to me was like, okay, so you want to use this. These are the ways you can use this. This is the different levels of how you can use this thing to do this thing. And that's about all it's good for. It's not rocket science to see that's exactly what you were doing. You were putting Pokemon in roles and then trying to fit the Pokemon to the role that you expected them to be in, and then sometimes changed your mind mid video and showcased a different one that you put together literally within that second. That's not hard. That should be the shit that everybody wants to go and enjoy, regardless. It's not
Yeah.
hard. It's not complicated. It's fucking stupidity. So you sent me a screen grab or a Twitter message about the Ocean Gate submarine.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck was that?
It was mostly just kind of like, wow, the brain rot and sub 90 IQ that's proliferating through social media, where it showed like the back little triangle cone part of it
Yeah,
because the video was released, and people were like, I thought it imploded, and it's just like, are you
that's what I
trying
thought it
to
was.
like? Do you like that is the peak? If you want to know how midwits operate and what low IQ looks like, that is the peak explanation of how it goes because they think that they figured out something that everyone thought that's counter to the narrative when just like the most explainable shit possible. Where it's like, yes, the rest of it imploded, but the part that wasn't pressurized didn't implode because it was already at that pressure. It's why you can find a bottle. If it's an open bottle, it's not going to crumple.
Or, more logic for all of these retards. But there's a very, very, very big one that a lot of people just genuinely won't understand. If somebody throws a grenade, you still can find fragments of it. Is it really that complex? It doesn't disappear to nothing. Nothing.
If it disappeared to nothing, there
Everything
wouldn't be
doesn't
anything
turn to
killing
nothing.
you.
Yeah, exactly. Everything turns into something, even if it's dust. There is bits of it left.
Well, the weird thing about
So,
grenade is it's shaped that way because each of those parts becomes a bullet. Those little squares, that's not to
mhm.
look cute for texture or anything. That's actually the function of the grenade is to send that square at you.
Yeah, the entire military isn't a bunch of fucking swingers.
Hmm.
The wives might be, but they're not a bunch of swingers. They're not going to turn every single thing into upside down pineapples and say, "Oh my God, look at how cool we are." They literally had a reason for it. That's why it's shaped like a pineapple.
So I just wanted to
Fucking
kind of point that
stupid.
out where I was just like, wow, that's a lot of people that when I thought it imploded. And then the fellow midwits gang together and it's like, someone sees that, it's like, yeah, I thought it imploded too. This guy's right. And then they just NPC it out. So I just wanted to kind of bring that up where it's like, wow, that was weird.
Can you guys return my Xbox 360 controller? I know it's a cheap one, but I need it back. Okay. So you had a great fucking topic that I felt was great to end the show on. And it is choosing your seat. It is right here.
I wanted to do the Coca-Cola thing before that,
Oh,
but that's
oh,
also because
okay.
choosing the seat's political. It kind of all
Yeah.
ties together. So yeah, the Coca-Cola boycott. You say something about that,
Okay.
or
Let me
you lead it
grab
off.
the article.
Yeah,
Coca-Cola.
because pretty much like you can run it through, and I've got like one sentence I typed out because I was waiting for my commie friend to like say that, like be like, "Can you believe that people are getting upset over the Coca-Cola thing?" So I had like a rebuttal ready, but we can throw it on the show. It's funny.
So I don't know exactly where they're doing this. It looks like a vending machine, but it seems like Coca-Cola is allowing you to print names and stuff on cans like they always have, but now they're allowing you to choose what's on them.
And also like that could
So
just be a
back,
website portal as well or something.
it says Coca-Cola machine refusing to print the name. So I
Most of the
don't
machines are
necessarily
doing it
know.
now, but I think it's like how you get custom M&Ms and shit. So you could also,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's where I saw it, was something similar to that. So back in the day, you used to be able to find your name, share a Coke with, blah blah blah, and everybody thought it was cool to just meme
Hmm.
and put it up there. So now, I guess in Coca-Cola machines or custom Cokes or whatever, they're allowing you to print your name or print anything that you type on the cans. And when you give this to the internet, you know, fucked up and weird shit happens. And we find every single little thing that you're not allowed to say. Like, remember back in the day in COD 4 or Modern Warfare 2 where you couldn't put assault rifle because it had ass in it.
I didn't know.
So
No, no.
yeah, you couldn't put assault
I mean, that
because it
makes
had
sense.
ass.
So I think Pokemon names got censored in Generation 5 because of
Uh,
that.
there was a specific, it
Yeah.
might be for alligator, but I'm not
No.
positive. But no, it was like the base name. One of the names you couldn't put on the
Yeah, I know. It
GCS
wasn't for
because
alligator, but it was a base
yeah,
name of a
yeah.
Pokemon.
So they are not they're allowing names like Allah, say and Satan, but when you put Jesus on it, you receive an error message saying, "Sadly, we cannot automatically allow this text on a can." So that's the religious half of it, but there's also more. I saw yesterday that they went through and made it so that way you could put Kamala on the
Hmm.
can, but you could not put Trump 2024.
Yeah.
It's
There's
this shit
infinity
so
examples of
fucking
this
stupid.
where like you ask Chat GPT what happened. It's like I can't talk about political figures, and then you ask about Kamala, and it's like Kamala is an incredible hero to the everything community. But pretty much my
Okay,
take was like you can tell how clearly racist or like race biased it is, and how targeted it is. They want to destroy white Western Christian values.
so it looks like the name you've requested is not approved. Names and phrases may not be approved if they are trademark, political in nature, names of countries,
Hmm.
celebrities, religious figures, as well as anything that could be considered offensive for other reasons. Oftentimes, a name might be accepted if you add a last name to the submission. However, Harrison Walls 2024 displayed the same
Yeah.
error message. Contrary to some claims on social media, the site also blocked phrases such as Trump Vance 2024, White House, and President of the United States, but does not block Trump uh, hyphen Vance, but does block Trump Vance.
Hmm.
Similarly, Harris hash
Well,
Walls
much like how you
was
can use
allowed,
a
but not.
one and then you
Yeah.
can get away with, yeah. So like there's cheats for it, but you can tell like what the default ban list is.
And it's interesting. They allow Tim Walz and JD Vance, but do not allow Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, or Joe Biden. It doesn't allow Jesus, Allah, Democrat, Republican, Twitter, or X. And that
I
honestly,
thought the thing was it was allowing Allah, but not Jesus.
that two different things. I couldn't tell you. I didn't try it myself. Let me see if I can go to Coca-Cola's website and try it. Let's see.
Well, now that's probably been patched in some kind of crazy way. But the initial one is like maybe they meant to ban those things. They want to like keep it all banned, but those aren't the ones on their mind. Whoever's programming that's like, okay, no Trump, okay, no Jesus,
Yep.
no God, no whatever. And then like other people put in it's like, oh yeah, we forgot Allah because it's on the back of their mind to not target whites first.
So funny thing, the direct link is now down for technical difficulties.
Yeah, like of course that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't take down the site to hide what they were doing. Not a
Yeah,
problem at all,
but to me,
guys.
when like you could see the clear division where it's like identity politics are allowed through, conservative values are not. They're saying the quiet part out loud through their actions. Equality is about targeting one group and tearing down their values, and it's exposed through Coca-Cola of all things. And that's where we're at in 2024, and that's all I had to say.
It's so interesting. So, my boy, you sent me this, and I actually thoroughly like it as a conversation.
It is a brilliant conversation.
To me, there is only two places to sit on this entire map. And in the actual video feed of this, I'm going to make this bigger so that way you guys can see it.
Yeah.
But so we're all sitting on a plane. All of these people are still on the plane, but you have to decide where your seat is going to be and who you want to talk to and interact with. To me, there's two choices. Where would your two choices be? I think this is
Two.
very straightforward. Yeah, you got to give me two choices.
I was the only thing like, man, maybe there's. I can see two now because
I can see three, but
my first one's like I'm only sitting at number one because I think it'd be hilarious.
yeah.
But my second pick would be number five because I want to talk fly fishing with
Ooh.
Tucker Carlson.
See, and I had one also, so I'll choose a different one.
Yeah,
I think number
like,
two would be interesting.
like I actually like the worst thing that could happen at number one is that like you just say something like even if you don't believe it, just say something misogynist and you get free alcohol. He'll buy you a drink,
Yeah,
guaranteed.
exactly.
That's a
Exactly.
fine flight.
Honestly, if you're sitting in number one, this is probably a very high scale up level flight. You're probably on a private jet or some
No, not even
higher
that.
level
Like this is
aircraft.
supposed to be public. This is the exact plane.
Yeah,
You are
I
on
gotcha.
you are on a Boeing flight that's about to go down, and this is the exact lineup. You're not anywhere special.
To me, number two, if you want to have a very, very in-depth conversation, would be a rather interesting place to be.
There is no
And I
way
think,
that anything productive or intelligent could come from sitting next to Critical.
but Joe Rogan being next to him, he pulls the best out of absolutely
They'd
everybody.
be too
So how
busy arguing
interesting.
with each other to even converse. They'd be fighting the entire time. You couldn't get a word in.
And you want to know what would be another great place that I would contemplate sitting? Number 8.
Nah.
Yeah.
I think that gun dude isn't interesting enough. And Alex Jones, like, he's got the aisle seat. I don't like that. I don't trust it.
Yeah. But that's where 2 comes in. If you want an aisle seat, 2 is by far the best choice for an aisle seat.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a window seat, 8 is probably the best choice for 8's the only choice for that other than 1.
Nah, man, like,
So,
I'm down with having the window seat if it means Tate makes fun of me for having to piss.
nah, he'll call you
Just
a
hold it in
fucking
like a man.
furry. He'll be like, "Why you got a fucking dog collar on? You want me to put a leash on you and walk you later?" He would be relentless.
Man the fuck up.
You know, you'd be hitting on all cylinders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, the thing is, like, a conversation with Alex Jones not on the plane would be pretty good, but having to, like, talk across just some average dude that looked cool at the Olympics, I don't think that makes it right.
I think the average dude at the Olympics makes this that way. It's, normal and could be a conversation anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
A conversation with Joe Rogan is always going to go to the most extreme, nuanced part of the conversation. So Charlie's weird deadpan humor would be really kind of interesting to see. I don't think he flips Joe Rogan into being some weird disconnected person. That's why I think that one wins. Who's that third dude in Tate's row? Is that the dude from the movie?
I don't even know. I was just thinking, like, I just have Andrew Tate buy my drinks
Okay,
and it'll be
that
fine.
yeah, that was my point. Is I don't know who the third person is. It looks like Christian Bale, but it also looks like the dude from Wolf of Wall Street, and I'm not positive, so I could be absolutely retarded. I just don't consume enough media to know who the fuck it is.
Yeah, and like I said, like number 5 is only talking to Tucker Carlson about fly fishing because it's such a slept on art. It's hard to find people that appreciate fly fishing. Man ties his own flies. He also fly fishes for bass. That's another thing like no one does, even though it's very
I fly
productive.
fished before. It's
But
boring.
see, that's what I mean. But like, nah, fly fishing is peak, especially when you make your own flies. And
I've done
only
it.
me and Tucker understand that. But the problem is, if Putin's asleep, you just gotta piss yourself, or you gotta like piss into the cup or something. You wake him up, you're dead.
Yeah.
You bother him, it's over.
And it's funny. This is such a response bait question
Hmm.
when number 6 is literally Taylor Swift and fucking Hassan. How many? The majority of people choose that number. Guaranteed. All of the
Yeah.
lefties choose number 6 or number 10. There's only two choices for them altogether. It's number 6 or number 10, and that's Hillary Clinton and Epstein. It's just interesting because this is such a like political conversation, but it's also a conversation of who you are as a human. A
It is.
true
That's what I mean. That's
centrist
like the
would want to sit
perfect
in
like
3.
that's the perfect where you gonna sit.
Yeah, it's thoroughly interesting. Number 9 is a no go at all. Elon and a boxer that may or may not be trans. That
Yeah.
entire conversation shit.
But then like there's gonna be dude bros that are just like, okay, ignore the boxer. I just want to talk NFTs with Elon.
No, but I don't know. When I'm sitting in a row of something or something like that, I feel like I have to integrate everybody into the conversation so they're
Nah.
not left out.
I
That's
think I
why
think the Elon one isn't like, oh, everyone's engaging. It's just like how much can you suffer through that other person kind of idea.
exactly. But now you understand why I picked the 2 that I picked,
Yeah.
don't you? Because I'm like, oh, all 3 of us have to be a part of the conversation. Those 2 are by far the easiest ones to have
Hmm.
the conversations with.
And then for us, like if the only choice was sitting between Hassan and Taylor Swift, it's like I'd actually just take my chances jumping out. Like 0.01% of the people survive that. Like
I don't,
that's but then there's other people that just would live for that seat.
I don't understand Hassan's entire, grift. And not just his policies or his political ideology, but I don't understand him like as a creator at all. I understand sitting there having conversations with people about things that are going on. Absolutely understand it. I don't understand his political ideology, but how can you be so deluded in what you see as a person to be so aggressive but also so non-emotional at all ever in any conversation that your feelings get hurt but you have no emotion when they get hurt? He whines and cries about absolutely everything and then calls everybody a stupid
Yeah, that's
feely,
because he's unable
Trumpist.
to defend any of his positions, so he only has reactions for other idiots.
It's just it makes me it's like he's the
That's why I don't
guideline
even
for
like
what the
talking about
Zoomers
or
are, and I
engaging with
don't
anything about it because
understand.
like you either are an idiot that likes Hassan, or you're a smart, normal, rational person that knows he's just not worth anyone's time in any discussion in any capacity. Just worthless.
It's so fucking stupid. Do you have my story list? So that way I can just be told when to tell.
Nope,
My
I do
mouse
not
is
have
dying
one.
and I don't want to walk away from the PC. I'll grab it. Hold on. But yeah, no, it's just stupid. Like I don't understand exactly why all this shit happens. Stop it. There we go. And click this button. Like I don't understand why so many people kind of hyper focus on people like that. Like after you reach 20K or something concurrent, that's got to be a fucking weird place to be, especially when it's such a, complete and out fucking fuck fest of the same ideology in every single person.
Like I said,
And
any
they're
kind of
like,
like
you're not a
React
fucking human.
streamers or debate bros, like it's not worth the brain cells. It's not engaging or commentating on because everyone already knows their thoughts on it. Uh, almost having your toe cut off.
Okay.
85.
So, yep, I got it. Turn my mouse back off so that way I can actually end the show without getting up. So I developed an ingrown toenail pretty badly. And I
Ooh,
didn't really
this isn't
realize
where I was
exactly.
expecting it to go, where it's like, almost got
I
my toe
know.
cut off. I dropped a rock on it.
No, it gets worse. So I ended up developing an ingrown toenail and I didn't realize it at first. It just hurt to walk. You know, you don't really pay attention to those things. You cut your nails once a week and you kind of just keep up with things. And I guess I cut it at one point and it kind of like hooked into my toe and it just grew into my foot. So at this time I'm working at Subway and I'm just working through and I started bleeding through my sock. I'm like, this is
Good
bad.
sign.
The nail, I guess, grew underneath itself and curled all the way into the center of my toe. It was like my toe was being cut in half by my nail.
Ah! 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 Ah!
And I'm sitting here working all day, every day on it and not really paying attention. And it got bad. It got rather bad. So my girlfriend at the time was like, you have to go to the podiatrist. I'm like, I thought only old people went to the podiatrist. I don't know what I'm doing. So
Mhm.
she sets up the appointment and we end up going. And I sit down. They're like, that's really bad. You need to come with us. I'm like, what the fuck? I need to come with you. They're like, yes. So they walk me over to the x-ray machine and they're like, we're going to take x-rays of your foot. There's a chance you're losing your toe or possibly part of your foot today. We just want you to be aware and everything else. I'm like, fuck, what the fuck is going? I'm losing part of my foot today. I didn't want to even fucking be here. Like my toe is being cut in half. That's the only reason I'm fucking here. And they saw a sac that was the size of my toe. The entire bottom of my toe was essentially an infection sac. And they're like, if this went into your actual foot, there's a chance you go septic and die.
Yeah,
They're like
that's how those
inches,
work.
inches of growth in any way of this. You lose a toe, you lose a foot, you die. And those are the only three choices. And so they start putting me under with Novocaine and stuff like that because they don't put you to sleep for any of this shit. They put up like this little it was like a dentist chair
Yeah,
almost.
yeah.
So they had me lean back and I'm sitting there playing my game my DS. I was playing I think it was Pokemon Black and White. And I'm all lean back and shit. And my ex-wife is sitting there cackling like a fucking hyena because she thinks it's hilarious that anytime she's nervous, she just laughs. Like it's complete incorrect behavior, but it's just what she does. So we're going through, we're dealing with all this shit, and all of a sudden they're like, okay, well this is all done and taken care of. I'm like, fuck. So they wrap up my foot and take care of it, and they go through and they're like, okay, so this, and this, you have to soak your foot twice a day, make sure it's clean and everything else. And my toe was like the size of my fucking fist because they wrapped it up like 2 or 3 times in
Yeah.
not alcohol wrap, athletic wrap. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna squeeze it in my shoes because my feet are super super sensitive from all the surgeries and everything else I've had on them. But they're just super sensitive, so I always have shoes on. I always have socks on, something to cover my feet. And I'm like, I'm going back to being normal. So I wrap my foot in my sock, and I had DC sneakers, which have the elastic band in them for skating, so it like holds them closed almost.
Yeah.
So I wrapped my shoe around my foot. I walk outside, and my mom's like, "Okay, come on, we got a funeral to go to." So I prepare myself. We go to this funeral, and I'm sitting there saying goodbyes to my aunt. And no, I was about to get ready to say goodbyes to my aunt, and my mom was in the line in front of me. Somebody behind me called my mom, and she turned around, and I guess I was a little too close to my mom. She steps all of her weight on my toe. My surgically repaired foot, she just put all 450, 500 pounds of her weight on it. And I've never almost swung at somebody without thinking before in my life so hard. I went, and I just, like, it was shock. It was like going immediately in shock, immediately out of shock. It was the worst pain I've ever felt up until that point. It was just like my foot got crushed, and I'm just like, I'm okay. Mom, you just stepped on my surgically repaired toe, and I'm not okay. You just go to RMTS to check out. We'll see you fucking next time.